At the age of 89, in 2017, Roger Moore died after a short battle with cancer.
So we're following breaking news right now. Actor Roger Moore has died. The actor was most remembered as James Bond. He was 89 years old. His kids put out a statement this morning saying that he died after a battle with cancer.
Even though he was a big superstar, his name became known worldwide as James Bond 007. And if you are a fan of the classical James Bond movies, you must have seen his face many times, having played the role for more than 12 years. However, what will shock you is that Roger has a secret that stayed with him until his death. This secret would have been hidden if Deborah, one of Roger's kids, had not decided to speak up. What was this secret? And why did Deborah wait until her father's death before she could say something? Join us as we unravel the spilled secrets of Roger Moore, our beloved James Bond, by his daughter that will leave you in awe. Roger Moore's early life. A brief history of his early life will give insight into what led to his secrets and why his daughter waited until his death before revealing them. Roger Moore, born on October 14, 1927, in Stockwell, London, had a diverse early life. He was the only child of Lillian Lilly, née Pope, and George Alfred Moore, a police constable. George served as a policeman and had a passion for amateur acting, while his mom, Lillian, hailed from India, where her father served as an RSM during WW1. Roger himself held a position in the military, and following his service, pursued an 18-month stint as a male model, alongside understudying in West End theater productions. So acting has literally been part of Roger's life. Roger grew up in Stockwell, and just like in New York, he was introduced to the fast life of a busy city at an early age, which set a foundation for what he later became widely known for in the future. His foundation in sophistication came from attending Battersea Grammar School, and all was going well for him intellectually until World War II. During World War II, Moore was evacuated to Holsworthy, Devon, to escape the Blitz in London, and it was one of his fondest memories. Moore furthered his education at the local Lawn College at 13 years of age, and then at Dr. Chalonnet's grammar school. It was here that Moore started broadening his mind through movies, local theater productions, and literature. However, the war stopped, and so did the bombings. As a result, Moore returned to London from the countryside and went back to school at Venerable Bede College. But at the age of 15, he decided to drop out of school and pursue a career in the animation and film industry because of his passion for such work. He went on to work for one of the best animation and film studios, then at Publicity Picture Productions as an office boy and tracer. His spell at the studio was going great until there was a mix-up with some video cells that got Roger fired. Roger Moore's uncanny start. His foray into the film world started in an unexpected way. Getting fired was a misstep that led to a turning point in Roger's life. His father, by chance, investigated a robbery at the home of film director Brian Desmond Hurst. This connection landed Roger a role as an extra in the 1945 movie Caesar and Cleopatra. Interestingly, it wasn't his acting that got noticed, but his charm. He apparently gained a following among the female crew members. As a result, Desmond Hurst, impressed by his charisma, decided to invest in Moore's future. After a few years had passed, Rogers got another opportunity to work with Desmond on a 1949 film project, Trottle True, where he secured another minor role, acting alongside Christopher Lee. However, before that, Desmond Hurst had already taken a liking to Roger. In 1944, Desmond suggested that Rogers should give the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, RADA, the best dramatic institution that had created the best actors of their time, a trial. He explained that such education would prove useful for Rogers if he wanted to become a big actor in the film industry. Roger liked the suggestion, and he decided to enroll at RADA, which really changed his career path for the better. He worked really hard at the audition to be accepted into the institution. Coming from a humble background, Desmond knew about Roger's indigence. So he sponsored Roger's education at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, where he honed his acting skills and even developed his signature relaxed demeanor and sophisticated accent. Moore's time at RADA. Roger Moore's time at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA, was not only about pursuing excellence in acting, but it turned out to be the key to many connections that would later on help him tread his way up to the stardom in the silver screen. Moore didn't just get engaged in acting through RADA classes, he dived into the very performing spirit. During 3 sessions of dedicated classes, he perfected his techniques of acting, voice, and body language that he could name sophistication and charm. The RADA was also a growing pool of ambitious minds whose relationships were developed through friendship and solidarity for Roger. Among them, Lois Maxwell, a classmate whom we shared with the world as Miss Moneypenny in the James Bond movies, also belonged. During the film's shooting, his relationship with Glaze Brooke probably acted as a buffer, offering him friendship and emotional support whenever he felt overwhelmed by the task of embodying Bond. However, it was his relationship with Lois that landed him his greatest gig of all time. It was Lois who advised him to wear a safari suit for the James Bond audition, and it was what caught his attention the most. If he hadn't gone to RADA and met with Lois, perhaps another face might have embodied the enigma 007. Moore's military stint. Consequently, Roger Moore's subsequent work experience from national service to the acting career he pursued in the Combined Services Entertainment Unit, CSEU, is an epic illustration of how keenness can make life and professional duties intertwine. Moore joined the RAC National Service at the age of 18 in 1946. The RAC was an important cross-country connection, and every young man had to pass through the RASC. It connected military operations in Europe to other parts of the world. Decorated as a second lieutenant, Moore's primary task was initially to monitor a depot stationed in West Germany, where he controlled the supply of troops on duty. In contrast with the recognized characters of James Bond, who mostly engaged themselves in furious scenes, Moore's initial career in the military consisted of administrative and logistics work. But if we think of his term as being within the time of his service, Moore's progress happened to be very interesting. Employing his experience and skill, he moved to the Combined Services Entertainment Unit, CSEU, a new team whose main purpose was to provide entertainment in the form of sports for soldiers who persisted in the hostile environment of the Soviet Union during the height of the Cold War. Here, Moore discovered the venue of blending his taste and passion for acting with his duties as a soldier. The CSEU, Criminally Suspicious Entertainment Unit, was the place where Moore felt that his passion for performance was fully unleashed. Supposing that he participated in different forms of amusement, like acting in theaters, drawing sketches on their walls, and doing morale-boosting activities that provided stopgap and companionship to his soldiers in the military, which they were conducting their activities. If it were to be assessed, prevalent contentions about Moore's military service might not resonate entirely with everyone, because his service provided a perfect combination of his acting ambitions with his sense of duty. Yet his combat experience was not what some people would consider. Of course, serving in the CSEU has not only helped the friendship of his fellow soldiers and spirit of morale, but also provided the basis for his career in the film industry, as he would later become the film icon of the silver screen. The Big Knit. After coming back from service, Roger Moore continued his career in the film industry. However, it was not all roses for him. He was able to land a job at the Repertory Theater. But it was little pay, so small that he had to look for other jobs to be able to keep up. It was then he found a modeling job. It was not a big gig, but it helped him pay the bills. His modeling was a bit unique. He started modeling for catalogs that displayed knitwear. However, after a couple of months of modeling in knitwear, his charming smile, coupled with his good looks, helped him land better modeling gigs, such as modeling for health and home products, such as Brill Cream, McLean's, and many more. However, getting new modeling gigs didn't mean he stopped modeling for the knitwear, and the more he modeled for the knitwear, the more popular he got. This consequently earned him the nickname the Big Knit. Little success at MGM. Roger Moore's signing with MGM in 1954 marked a pivotal moment in his budding acting career. The prospect of joining a major studio like MGM seemed like a golden opportunity for any young actor at the time, but reality soon tempered his excitement. As part of the studio system, Moore found himself thrust into a situation where actors were at the mercy of studio executives' decisions. Despite his aspirations for better roles, Moore was typecast as the handsome leading man, which limited the variety of roles he could be offered. Instead of the challenging, dramatic parts he longed for, Moore often found himself cast in lightweight roles in B-movies and television shows. As the years passed, Moore's dissatisfaction grew as a result of a lack of recognition and a string of disappointments, including the critical and commercial failure of the film Diane in 1956. This boxed and frustrated Moore, and he struggled to change the narrative, but he didn't succeed. His efforts to showcase his talent beyond his leading man image often fell on deaf ears, and the recognition he sought seemed perpetually out of reach. So when a better offer presented itself, he left MGM. The Saint. After the flog Diane, MGM decided not to renew Moore's contract, which was a turning point in his career. However, Moore embraced this opportunity to forge his own path as a freelance actor. This newfound autonomy allowed him to pursue a wider range of projects and showcase his talents in various television shows, laying the groundwork for his eventual breakthrough. In 1962, Roger Moore's fortunes took a dramatic turn when he landed the lead role in The Saint, a television series based on the popular novels by Leslie Charteris. As Simon Templar, the sophisticated and charismatic adventurer, Moore found a character perfectly suited to his suave persona. The Saint became a runaway success, running for 6 seasons and solidifying Moore's reputation as a leading man on television. Moore's portrayal of Simon Templar catapulted him to stardom, earning him widespread acclaim and recognition. His success on the small screen not only established him as a formidable talent in the television industry, but also caught the attention of filmmakers, including the producers of the James Bond franchise. As Moore's star continued to rise, his journey from disillusionment at MGM to triumph as the iconic Simon Templar served as a testament to his resilience, talent, and unwavering determination to succeed in the cutthroat world of show business. Roger Moore as 007. In terms of cinematic history, it is hard to imagine any character having such charisma and effectively owning an epic as James Bond, the amiable, ethical, and hot-blooded super agent whose job is to exterminate the world evildoers. They all were part of the group of famous actors who were wearing this renowned tuxedo. But one of them had something special: the combination of refinement and gentlemanliness, the sense of humor and pure slickness that none of the previous actors had. Roger Moore, as Sean Connery bid farewell to the role that made him a household name, the question loomed large. No one protested against revolutionary changes lay in the hands of this prestigious position. This was an epic challenge, but when Moore took up the 007 titles, following the persona from the rugged Simon Templars he played in The Saint, fans quickly forgot about Sean. Cubby Broccoli and Harry Saltzman, who were the lead directors of James Bond, had been following Roger's career from The Saint. It was then easy for them to pick Rogers to fill in the spot because of how he had embodied the personality of Simon Templars. Witnessing the transition to the Moore era at the beginning of Live and Let Die, 1973, which was his first screen as Bond, the world got a different approach to 007. Connery's brooding intensity has disappeared to give way to Moore's more lighthearted humor and sarcastic turns. His Bond was a touch of class that fancied cocktails. just as he liked to evade bullets and win the hearts of every woman. As the years went by, Moore grew to be identified with the character, consistently playing in the blockbuster films that immortalized his charm and natural casualness. The filming venues of The Spy Who Loved Me, 1977, and Moonraker, 1979, featured both the sun-drenched beaches and the zero-gravity scenes. So these films immortalized Moore's place among the pantheons of cinematic heroes. However, as with the rest of all good things, Moore's tenure as James Bond had to vanish at some point. With A View to a Kill, 1985, he said goodbye to the character that made him famous for over 10 years after acting as the longest James Bond, 7 times. The Tower Thief. Moore, known for his wit and sense of humor, often indulged interviewers in pranks and jokes, because he quickly got bored of the recurring similar questions at press conferences. He had decided to give the interviewers something to bite on. In his interviews, he had always made jokes, one of which was when he was about to be cast as James Bond. Cubby Broccoli had suggested that he reduce his weight and cut his hair. Moore had found this funny, and he referred that incident to the franchise looking for a thin and bald man. Moore's antics didn't stop there, as he often made jokes about all his action scenes done by stuntmen, and the only real scene he participated in was just the erotica scenes, a statement that always made everyone laugh. Moore was getting good at his jokes, so good that some interviewers took him literally. A good example was when Moore told interviewers that he often took things from hotels after he was done using the place. And a newspaper reporter took this up and published an article stating, "Roger Moore, the Tower Thief." The article was all a good joke, and Roger Moore never took offense to it. In fact, it became so widely known that even BBC radio stations referred to it. Charity and philanthropy. Off-screen, Roger Moore, aka the sophisticate agent with a shaken martini, James Bond, wasn't just a cool, calm character. He championed many causes throughout his life, which was his giving more than just the world of espionage in which he acted. The philanthropic story of Moore started after the period he was a hired actor at MGM Studio. Tormented by the absence of such roles, he ultimately turned to aiding his fellow peers. UNICEF became his first love, the United Nations Children's Fund. For more than 20 years, he has traveled around the world visiting UNICEF projects, and he is adamant about protecting children's rights. Be it in the hot plains of Ghana or the stormy Philippines, Moore came face to face with the hardships children encountered and fought for their welfare. This resulted in him being chosen for the UNICEF UK Lifetime Achievement Award in 2012, a tribute to the difference he made. Trouble in Paradise. When it came to Roger Moore's love life, it went through heights and depths of ecstatic feeling, tension, and persistent intimacy, just like the best pieces of fiction, undefined. Dorn Van Stein, 1946 to 1953. In the hardy days of youth, young Roger Moore fell in love with a fellow student at RADA named Dorn Van Stein, who was also a promising actor. The rapid turn of events, from their meet-cute to marriage, was marred by a strained relationship, which many seem to assume was part of the make-believe world of Hollywood glamour. According to sources, Moore possibly was a target of domestic abuse, which brings a more complex view to their role. They divorced in 1953 and ended their unhappy times together. Dorothy Squires, 1953 to 1968. After Dorn, Roger Moore went after Dorothy Squires, a Welsh singer who was full of life and always ready to entertain Moore, who was 12 years older than him at the time. The flame of their love, which was as beautiful and fierce as a fire, was not without its drama. The passionate relationship of the couple frequently had to fight, with Squires controlling nature on the one hand and the public fights on the other. This led Moore to file for divorce, an agreement that Dorothy couldn't accept for 7 years. She even sued him in court for lack of conjugal performance from Moore. But in 1968, No longer having that passionate heart of fire, Dorothy decided to give Moore the divorce he wanted. Luisa Mattioli, 1969 to 1993. Luisa Mattioli, an Italian aristocrat and Moore's mistress, later became his wife after Dorothy had finally let go. Together, they created a family. 3 children were born in that house. Deborah, Jeffrey, and Christian joined their family. Then again, fear and distress confronted them along with the happy moments of their parenthood. Union of the couple was argued by the infidelity rumors, and trying to reconcile with a busy life was very hard for him. In 1993, Moore and Matties parted, their split covered by a bitter legal fight and the painful aftershock of the understanding that their once indestructible bond was nothing more but a thing of the past. Christina Kiki Tolstrup, 2002 to 2017. Moore met Christina Tolstrup, a Swedish socialite, through his then-wife, Louisa. Their love story sort of raised eyebrows. Despite the controversy, Moore and Christina found happiness together. He described her as organized, serene, and his lifeline. They married in 2002 and remained together until Moore's passing in 2017. When many of us see stars, we think their lives are filled with glamour and luxury, and most perhaps were born with silver spoons. However, we have many stars that rose from nothing and had to work very hard, even when things don't seem to be working out both in their homes and in their careers. This is the story of Roger Moore, the action and sarcastic 007 that brought a new dynamic to the Enigma character that we've all come to love. Thank you for watching this video. See you at the next one.